Okay, guys, this is your assignment video for part 5, finding the distance between points, or in other words, finding the length of a line when it's on a graph. Okay, so let's get started. We have 2 points, point I and point J, and we want to find the distance between the two. Okay. So here we go. There's a couple ways, obviously. When you're given the actual coordinate grid, all you have to do is count, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It's a distance of 5 units, correct? Not too bad at all. Okay. So that part you should be able to kind of fly through. It's just to get you started and a little familiar. Okay. Moving on. Now, it's a little bit different because I just want to point out the fact that our 2 points are in 2 different quadrants now. Okay. It's still going to be easy for us to count, but I do want to let you know that it's a little bit different. Okay. So to find the distance between these two, I can start here on my x-axis and just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hops up. And 1, 2, 3 hops down. So altogether, I have 8 hops, right? So the full distance is 8 hops. Cool. Moving right along. Here we go. Same thing. You're crossing over. You're just counting hops, right? Not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the more complicated problems. Here you go. You actually have a grid. You get to count. Easy peasy. All right, here's where the real thing starts. Okay, find the distance between the points, but you do not get a grid. So technically, I always say you can cheat by using like your own little mental image here. I always draw these things out just to help me. I'm not good at holding images in my brain, so mental math is not my friend. You could probably figure this out in your head. That is awesome. Okay, so all I do is kind of get a rough estimate. -3, -4. Where would that fall here? Okay, so I'm at my origin. If it's -3, -4, I automatically think in my brain backwards and down, right? Because that means negative, negative. Okay, so -3, -4, just making up a spot for it, right? And I could even label it if I want -3, -4. Okay, so the second one, again, I'm just kind of like pretending, is -3, 6. Well, if I already went over -3 on the first one and I'm doing it again, I want to at least like fake it and be in the same spot, right? So I'm going over -3 again, but this time I'm going to go +6. So instead of going down 4, I'm going up 6. Again, it's just like a rough estimate, but I'm going to label it. Okay, so I can give you a visual. All right. So notice these plotted points are in 2 different quadrants, right? And also notice I underlined they have similar numbers, right? They match. So the fabulous thing about this is mathematically, you can look, and I could have told you this already without even drawing it out, and I'll show you how, okay? So if it's a straight line, one set of your numbers is always going to be the exact same. Okay, so because I have a -3 and a -3, I can automatically tell myself, this is going to create a line. Cool. So I knew it was going to be a line. Okay. And then by looking at the other numbers, I can tell they're in 2 different quadrants. Can you guess how I know? I have a -4 and a +6. So if your signs don't match, that means they're in 2 different quadrants. Okay, that's your giveaway. So when there are 2 different quadrants, right, if your signs don't match, that is your hint that you need to find the absolute value of each number. Okay, so what's the absolute value of -4? How many hops away from 0 is -4? It's 4 hops, right? What's the absolute value of +6? How many hops from 0 is 6? It's 6 hops. Okay, the reason why you just found absolute value is because of this. Look over here, okay? You have your x-axis, and then I'm asking you, How far up did you go to get up here? You went 6 hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just giving you a visual, okay? So you went up 6. Cool. You went up 6. Over here, you're at -4. So that means you went down 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You went down 4. It's negative, but we're still going to count it as 4 hops, right? You don't say you went -4 hops. You just say you went 4 hops, okay? So that's kind of why we're putting it in terms of absolute value, okay? If your signs don't match, it means that they're in 2 different quadrants, and you're going to have to find that absolute value. So that way you can say, I have 6 hops here. I have 4 hops here. If I add those 2 lengths together, it's going to tell me how long my line is. Cool? So I can automatically tell my line is 10 units long, and technically, I didn't even need this stuff. Okay? I could have just thought about it with my numbers. Okay? So let me show you that one more time. Okay? Here we go. -3. Oops. -4. Okay? And then -3, 6. Hint number 1, how can you tell it's a straight line? Because you have numbers that perfectly match, you know it's a straight line, okay? How can you tell that they're in 2 different quadrants? So you have to find absolute value. You can tell that they're in 2 different quadrants because one's a negative and the other one is a positive. Okay, and your other unmatching numbers. So if they don't match, find the absolute value and add those together. Cool? So with all of that, without having a grid, nothing at all, I know the length is 10. Cool? So let's try this on the next one. I'll show you. Okay? Ta-da! Here we go. Moving on. Okay, so clearing my screen. Here we go. I'm just going to walk you through it and be awkward like that. What is it? Dora the Explorer or whatever, where she just kind of like blinks at the screen and waits for you to answer. Okay, so here are my numbers, right? Here are my quadrants. My ordered pairs. Okay, cool. How can you tell it's going to make a straight line? You can tell because you have numbers that match. +6 and +6, they match, right? This is your clue that it is a straight line. Let me show you. Okay. 4, 6. +4, +6. -5, 6. I'm going to go -5, +6. Okay, so this is how I know I went up 6 for both of them. It's going to end up making a straight line. Cool? All right. Just by looking at the numbers, how can you tell you're going to end up in different quadrants? Because one is a negative and one is a positive, right? So that lets me know automatically, hey, find the absolute values and add them together. So the absolute value of 4 is 4. The absolute value of -5 is 5. When I add 4 and 5 together, I get a length of 9. Okay, now let me show you over here if you're going to use the cheat method, right? This guy right here was -5, 6, right? And this guy was 4, 6. Cool? Okay. So all this means is we went up 6 for both of them. How far over am I from 0? I am 5 hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That's why I ended up with -5. I'm 5 hops. 5 hops. And then this way I went 1, 2, 3, 4 hops this way. That's why it's +4. Okay. So 5 plus 4 gives you the total length of 10. Okay. So this is your visual This is your mathematical computation. So either way your brain is working right now, I would practice both of them just in case, but hopefully that helps you. I think the answer was 9. That's how bad my memory is. Okay. Moving on. Okay. We just had one like that. Let's try another one. Okay, here's another one. Bum, 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 bum. So we have -5, -7, and we have 3, -7, right? Okay. Starting off, can you tell it's a straight line? How can you tell? That's supposed to be parentheses. I can tell it's a straight line because I have 2 identical numbers, right? So if I was going to plot these, it lets me know that whether I go forward or backward on my first round, I'm going to climb down to -7 both times, okay? How can you tell if your numbers are going to end up in a different quadrant or the same quadrant? They have different signs. One's a negative, one's a positive. So that means they're going to end up in different quadrants, and I need to find the absolute value, right? So what's the absolute value of -5? It's 5, right? 5 hops from 0. What's the absolute value of 3? It's 3 hops from 0, right? So when I add 5 plus 3, I get 8. My length or my distance between my points is 8 hops. I'm just going to plot it to prove it, okay? So I have -5, -7. -5, let's get a color that actually shows up. -5's backwards, -7's down. Okay? So -5, -7. Cool. The other one is +3, -7. So +3, -7. Okay. It doesn't really matter as long as I'm in the right vicinity because of the symbols, right? Or the signs, I mean. So this is 3, -7. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how long this line is. From 0, how many hops over is this? When I was here at 0, how many hops over did I go? I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hops, right? When I was here, how far over did I go? I walked 1, 2, 3 hops, right? So when you add those together, you get 8 hops total. Yay! Hopefully some of that is making a little bit of sense. I'm going to try to see if I can find one that is a little bit different than this. That one's not. And we just did that one. And I am just going to make one up now. Okay. I'm just going to make one up. So what if we had, I'm still going to use the -3s, right? So they match. Lovely, 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 right? Okay. And what if this is a 3 and this is an 8? Okay. So again, I'm going to ask you, how can you tell it's a straight line? Well, I can tell because we have a set of matching numbers, right? They're both x values are -3. So that lets me know it's going to be a straight line, okay? Now, if I look at my other numbers, how can I tell if they're going to be in the same quadrant or different quadrants? Well, so far, for some silly reason, it's random, but ALEKS has only given me examples where they're in different quadrants. I had a negative and a positive. But if you look, I just gave you an example where both of them are positive. So if they're both matching, such as this, you don't find the absolute value. Okay, let me show you why. Okay, if this is a 3 and this is an 8, they're both positive, we're going to end up in the same quadrant. So absolute value is not even necessary. I'm going to plot this. -3, 3. Starting here, -3, +3. I'm just going to put it here. Then -3, 8. I'm going to start here again. -3, +8. So we're going to say it somewhere up here. Look, I am in the same quadrant, correct? So all I care about is getting from where I plotted this -3, 3 to where I plotted -3, 8. How do you tell the distance between 8 and 3? You don't need to find the absolute value to do it, right? It's literally just, 8 minus 3. How do we get that? That means our distance is 5. Cool. No absolute value is necessary if they're both positive. Okay. What if they are there's no undo button. That's the only thing bad about this app. Okay. So what if instead I gave you -3, -3, and -3, -6? Okay. In the last example, they were both positives here, but now they're both negatives. Okay. So again, I could tell it's going to be a straight line because my x's match, right? If your x's or your y's match, it's going to be a straight line, okay? So let me fake plot this stuff out and show you again, okay? So -3, -3. Starting at my origin, -3, -3, okay? Negative, oh my Lord. My hand's like cramping from writing on this like little, whatever you call this, scrolling pad on my laptop. Okay, so if this is -3, -3, where would -3, -6 be? -3, -6. We're going to say is right here. Okay. All right. Again, we don't need absolute value. And if you stare at this long enough, you'll understand why, right? I just want to know the distance from here to here, right? How do you get from -3 to -6 on a number line? That's all we're asking. What's the difference between the two, right? How many hops away am I? If I'm at -3, I would go -4, -5, -6, right? It's just 3, okay? Or you could even say -6 minus -3, right? You'd end up with 3 hops, right? You're just finding the distance between these two, correct? Well, I guess that's probably a bad example. Don't use that because that is kind of going more into absolute value if you talk that way. This is just kind of how far away on a number line would it be, right? So, anywho, just 3. If it's in the same quadrant, you don't need to find absolute value. You just kind of count between the two numbers, right? How many hops would it take to get from one to another, right? Okay. So hopefully being able to give you both types of examples is making you feel a little bit more confident. Those are the types of problems you are going to have throughout the entire lesson. And that, I believe, is your final lesson before your study guide.